Oman was the only daughter in a family of 6 children. She was the jewel of her father's eye and the apple of her mother's heart. Her parents adored her, and her 5 brothers cherished her like a rare treasure. Being the only girl in the household, Oman was showered with attention and love. However, that love came with a downside. She was pampered to the point of being spoiled. Unlike her brothers, who were taught to be independent and responsible, Oman was not allowed to do anything at home. If she wanted something, it was given to her. If something needed to be done, it was done for her. Cooking, cleaning, even making her bed, these were chores that Oman never had to worry about. Her brothers did their own tasks, and her parents hired house help to ensure that Oman's hands remained unblemished. As Oman grew older, her parents began to notice her lack of basic domestic skills, but by then it was too late to change her habits. She had grown into a beautiful young woman, but she was undeniably lazy. She had no idea how to cook, clean, or manage a household, and she didn't care. She had been raised to believe that her beauty and charm would be enough to carry her through life. One day, Oman met Usas, a handsome and hardworking Edo man who fell in love with her at first sight. But Oman's lazy attitude was too obvious for Osas not to notice. However, when he found out that Oman had been pampered and was not very domesticated, he did not mind. He believed that love and patience would help her grow into the wife he needed. He was willing to help her learn and adjust to married life, confident that she would eventually change for the better. Oman and Oses got married in a lavish wedding. Her parents spared no expense in making sure that their only daughter had the wedding of her dreams. Oses, too, put in his all to make sure the day was perfect. As they stood before the altar, promising to love and cherish each other for the rest of their lives, Osis looked into Oman's eyes and believed that they were embarking on a beautiful journey together. The first few months of their marriage were blissful. Osas, who was an excellent cook, took it upon himself to prepare their meals. He would make delicious soups and stews, always ensuring that there was something special for Oman to enjoy. He even hired a cleaner who came regularly to tidy up the house so that Oman wouldn't feel overwhelmed by household chores. Oman, on her part, was grateful to have married such a wonderful and understanding man. She loved Osas deeply and appreciated all that he did for her, but despite her gratitude, she made no effort to change her lazy ways. Instead of trying to learn how to cook or take care of the house, she spent her days lazing around, scrolling through her phone, and watching TV. Osas never complained, but deep down, he was beginning to feel frustrated as Oman was making no effort. One morning, a few months into their marriage, Osas had to leave for work early. He had an important meeting and needed to be at the office by 6 a.m. As he got ready to leave, he asked Oman for a small favor. "Darling, I made some black soup last night and it's in the pot. Please warm it up for me later so that I can have it for dinner when I come back." Oman, who was half asleep, mumbled a response. "Okay, I'll do it." Osas smiled, although he was a bit skeptical. He knew Oman's track record when it came to domestic tasks, but he was hopeful that she would at least manage to warm up the soup. After all, it was just a simple request. As soon as Osas left, Oman drifted back to sleep and completely forgot about the soup. She spent the rest of the day in bed lazily snacking on nuts and chips, her phone never leaving her hand. She watched videos, chatted with friends, and indulged in her favorite pastime of doing nothing. It wasn't until 5 p.m., 1 hour before Osas was due to return home, that Oman suddenly remembered the soup. She panicked as she realized that she had not even gotten out of bed, let alone warmed up the soup. She quickly jumped out of bed and rushed to the bedroom to freshen up, hoping to at least appear presentable when Osas arrived home. After her bath, she hurried into the kitchen and opened the pot where the soup was stored. As soon as she lifted the cover, a foul odor filled the air. The soup had gone bad, spoiled from being left unwarmed for too long. Oman wrinkled her nose in disgust, but had no idea what else to do. In a panic, she lit the cooker and began to warm the spoiled soup, hoping to mask the smell with heat. Osas walked through the door at exactly 6 p.m. He was tired but looked forward to a relaxing evening with his wife. Unfortunately, as he entered the house, he was hit by a stench so strong that it nearly made him throw up. He knew immediately that something was wrong. "What is that smell?" Osas asked as he walked toward the kitchen. Oman, who was standing by the cooker, looked up at him guiltily. "I am warming the soup like you asked," she said, trying to sound innocent. In shock, Osas rushed over to the pot and lifted the lid, shifting backward at the stench that greeted him. The soup, his favorite black soup, was completely ruined. He had spent hours cooking it the night before, using the freshest ingredients and the perfect blend of spices. Now It was nothing but a foul-smelling mess. "Oman, what have you done?" Osa shouted, his voice filled with anger and disappointment. "The soup is spoiled. Did you not check it before warming it up?" Aman was shocked at his tone, her eyes wide with fear. She had never seen Osas this angry before. "I'm sorry, Osas, I forgot to warm it earlier, and when I remembered, it was already like this. I thought maybe heating it would make it better." Osas could not believe what he was hearing. "Eating spoiled food doesn't make it better, Oman. It makes it worse. How could you be so careless? Do you know how much time and money I spent making this soup?" Tears started to pour down Oman's face as she realized the extent of her mistake. "I am very sorry, Osas. I didn't mean to ruin it. I promise I'll make it up to you. I will cook another pot of black soup tomorrow, and it will be even better than this one." Osas looked at her incredulously. "You? Cook it? Do you even know how to boil water, not to mention making black soup?" "Yes, I do," Oman insisted. "I'll go to the market tomorrow and buy all the ingredients. I'll make it for you, I promise." Osas sighed. He knew Oman had never cooked a day in her life, and the thought of her attempting to make black soup was almost laughable. But he did not want to argue with her any longer. He was too tired. "Fine, but don't bother yourself too much. I'll manage something else for dinner tonight." Oman nodded, relieved that he was no longer angry. She decided that she was going to watch a few YouTube tutorials on how to make black soup in the morning. How hard could it possibly be? Osas frowned as he looked at the plate of food before him. He turned to Aya, his longtime housemaid, suspicion evident in his eyes. "Aya, why are you lying to me? You don't have to make up stories just to protect someone. I know the woman I married. There's no way." "Oman made this food," he stated firmly. Aya looked up, a mixture of confusion and amusement on her face. "Sir, I am telling the truth. Your wife prepared this meal herself. She wanted to surprise you and asked me to take a break while she cooked for you. I didn't lift a finger. She did everything on her own." Ayasa studied Aya's expression closely. He knew she wasn't the type to joke about such matters, but still, he found it hard to believe. His wife had never shown any interest in cooking, let alone mastering it. "Who taught her? Have you been giving her lessons behind my back?" he asked, still skeptical. Iya shook her head. "No, sir. I believe she's been learning on her own." Osas remained in shock, but he nodded slowly. "All right. Clear the table." Meanwhile, in the bedroom, Oman sat nervously on the edge of the bed, biting her fingernails. She had been expecting Osas to storm in, furious, demanding to know what had happened to his food, but instead there was only silence. Had he even eaten it? Did he hate it so much that he couldn't bring himself to say anything? Then the door creaked open. Osas stepped in, his expression unreadable, his eyes fixed on her. "Oman," he called, his voice steady but laced with curiosity. "Did you make that food?" Her heart pounded. She gulped, her fingers trembling slightly. I just wanted I'm sorry if..." Osas interrupted her. "No, I just want to know. Did you make the meal?" He stepped closer, his eyes locking onto hers. "Because it was perfect. Unique. Did you really make it?" Oman's breath caught in her throat. "He liked it?" Slowly, she nodded. "Yes, I made it. I just wanted to try, to see if I could." Osas was stunned. He studied her face, searching for any signs of deception, but there were none. "Are you serious? Since when have you been learning?" Oman, now more relaxed, smiled softly. "For a while now. I wanted to surprise you. I wanted to be able to make delicious meals for you, to take care of our home properly." Osas nodded, impressed, but still not completely convinced. "That's good, but I still won't believe it fully until I see it with my own eyes. Tomorrow, I want to watch you cook." Oman hesitated, then smiled. "Deal." The next day, Osas returned home earlier than usual and made his way to the kitchen. He sat quietly, observing as Oman moved around with confidence. She had chosen to make his favorite dish, Edo black soup. He watched as she selected the ingredients, ground the spices, and prepared the soup with precise movements. When she was done, she served him a steaming bowl of the rich, dark soup, the very dish that had once been the source of tension between them. As she stood anxiously by his side, Osas took a spoonful, blowing on it gently before taking a bite. His eyes widened. He paused, savoring the taste. The blend of flavors was perfect, bold, aromatic, and cooked to perfection. It was just as good as, if not better than, the meal he had eaten the day before. This is amazing, he murmured. He took another bite, and then another. Finally, he looked up at her, his face lighting up with genuine delight. Oman, this is the best black soup I have ever had. Amon's heart swelled with joy. She had been so nervous, but now, hearing those words, she felt an overwhelming sense of accomplishment. Really? I'm so glad you like it. That night, their dinner was filled with laughter, warmth, and a renewed sense of connection. For the first time in a long while, they sat together without any tension between them. Osas was proud of his wife, and Omon felt fulfilled knowing she had finally achieved something that had once seemed impossible. The following day, Osas found Aya in the kitchen, preparing another meal. He cleared his throat, making her turn to him. Iya, I just wanted to thank you for everything you've done for us. Your cooking has been wonderful, and we truly appreciate your help, but I think it's time